Hi there, fellow Whovians. Well, it's the big talk of the town out there. You've heard the rumors, you've heard the discussions, you've heard the things, and we still don't know yet. We still don't know if she's leaving, and you know what? We're not going to try to push her out. We're going to try. We don't want to go on the rumors of things, but we've heard people talking about the possibility of her replacement. So we wanted to get a little bit into the fun of it. And again, I just want to express there's nothing confirmed. We haven't heard anything from the BBC, from Jodie, from Chibnall, or anybody of that nature. We're just having a little fun deciding who might be the next Doctor and who could come next. And we want you to get involved in the chat as well. So welcome, friends. Stand by, Whovians. My name's Christian Basil, and this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And welcome, fellow Whovians. Again, my name is Christian Basil. For those of you joining us on the Wizard World chat, on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, on the Twitch channel, and now let me go ahead and introduce this. We now have, gosh, can I find it down here? We now have a YouTube channel, and about over 100 of you have already subscribed in the last few days. So give it a chance, give it some love, give it some likes. You're gonna see some of our classic stuff. Our new stuff's going over there as well. Check it out. Don't forget when you subscribe to hit that notification bell. So if there's any updates like new episodes or things coming up, we can let you know via YouTube. So join our channel there. We'll remind you throughout the day. We're going to post it into the live chat. And again, this is a discussion about, we've heard the rumors and everything. We just want to make a couple things clear. One, we don't want Jodie to leave. We don't want to kick her out. We want her to leave on her own accord. If she's ready to go, which this is kind of the time frame when usually actors and now actress want to leave the role, this is the time frame there. But we want to have a little fun to think about her replacement. So to get things started, let me introduce the team. I've got Mr. Kevo Risse from Kid Riot Comics, sorry there. And Husband's Talking More or Less. How you doing there, Kevo?
Good. How's everyone doing tonight?
All right there. Well, welcome to the episode. The lovely Melanie Dean. How you doing there, Melanie, at Pieces of Melee?
Yep, doing really well. Just freezing, even though I'm Floridian. I don't like sub 50-degree weather. I know everyone else other people are like, oh, please, that's warm. No, I'm
Nobody wants to
freezing. I'm doing good.
Yeah, if we have to put socks over our sandals, it's too cold here in Florida. That's the thing there. Nisha Mulchin from Diversely Geek, APRN. Nisha Mulchin, how you doing there? I can put some audio on there, girl, because we can't hear ya. We want to hear your lovely voice. There we go. Now you took yourself back off again.
I heard her.
Okay, we got the audio. It's a little low, but that's cool there. Well, Nisha, welcome there.
How are you, everyone? I am so happy to have the chance to be back with the TARDIS.
Much better on the audio. Thank you. All right, Mr. Brian Barres, Dr. Freedom himself on the YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube, how you doing there, Brian?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I wish it was 50 here.
No, you don't.
I'm not kidding. It's been in the teens here.
Oh, okay, I got you. Too cold out there. Too cold. And speaking of It's Geek to Me Radio, Mr. James Enstall, how you doing there on Geek to Me Radio? How you doing there, James? Can you hear us okay? Nope. Oh, okay. He's waiting.
Yeah,
Talk to us, James.
A little
Speak.
audio trouble, but I think I've got you, so yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thanks for having me.
All right. No worries there. And don't forget, if you want to chat in and tell us your ideas of your favorite person to be part of it, go ahead and type into the chat. You can use Wizard World if you're on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, if you're on Twitch, and definitely if you're now on our YouTube channel. Terry McIver says, I'm hopeful Jodie will stay. I've enjoyed each episode she's done so far. Interested to see where the Doctor goes from the revelations of the previous season. Yeah, well, there you go. And Snowstorm from New York here. Almost sorry, Graham. Wow, Graham Krause.
Sorry,
Good
Graham.
night. I am so sorry, Graham.
I have I have family in Long Island that they were just showing me pictures of shoveling snow, and I lovingly sent them a picture of my front yard that's just still has green grass, even though, again, I say it's freezing, but perspective.
I'm lucky.
Yeah.
My husband does all the shoveling. I'm very spoiled. I know.
Well, in that case,
I sent it to all you guys.
Yes. Thanks.
Well, Kevo, since I got you up there on the screen, let me go ahead and bring you out. We're going to start with you, sir, who you picked and why you picked them. Should Jodie decide to leave at any given time? Tell us a little about the person you picked.
Sure. Well, when you asked this question, I was really excited, and I went to all of my Whovian friends, who are some of the queerest people that I know. One of the artists on Kid Riot actually transitioned in the opposite direction of the Doctor. They used to be more feminine, and now they are masculine presenting. And a lot of people that I talked to would really love to see them continue to explore the Doctor's gender fluidity. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid they wouldn't do that immediately after Jodie Whittaker, even though I think Miranda Hart would be an amazing Donna-esque Doctor. So at the very least, if the next Doctor is going to be a man, I really hope that we go with a person of color, and somebody who really checked that and a lot of other boxes for me was Alfred Enoch of the Harry Potter franchise and of How to Get Away with Murder. One of the other claims to fame for this actor is that his father is William Russell, who played Ian Chesterton.
That's right.
From 1963 to 1965. He was a Doctor's companion. And so I think Alfred is 32, which is a decent age for a Doctor. He's 6'4" and very slender, which is a unique frame. And the Doctor always has a very unique frame. I would just be very interested to see what a young but not too young actor like that with such amazing Doctor Who ties could bring to the franchise.
Gotcha there. Anybody thoughts on Alfred? I just like the fact that he does have some kind of, he has some descending, for better term, blood in the Whoniverse, going all the way back to William Hartnell there. So thoughts on our friend Alfred Enoch?
I think
yeah, go ahead. You go.
No, because the funny thing, at first I was like, wait a minute, isn't that Dean Thomas from Harry Potter? And then Kevo was like, yeah, that's who it is. I'm like, oh my. So it's kind of, I think it'd be kind of neat for that particular fandom that if they've dropped out of his career, at least stateside, to see him come back and just to kind of show that, how well-rounded an actor he is in presenting the role.
Does he technically count? Because remember there used to be that meme out there that had all the Harry Potter actors and all the Doctor Who actors who actually crossed over. So technically he does kind of fit that, even though he hasn't. I don't think he's been in Doctor Who, has he?
No, not yet.
Not yet. No. Okay.
So I'm a huge stickler for that. No one on any of my lists has been on Doctor Who before. I get very cranky.
Oh.
I was so mad about Capaldi. I forgave, but I get cranky.
All right. Speaking of cranky, next up is James. I didn't really have a segue out there.
His
internet's
internet's
perfect
cranky.
because it's actually going to make Kev a little bit cranky because my actor has been on Doctor Who before.
Okay.
I chose David Harewood, and he was actually in The End of Time with the 10th Doctor. Is kind of not a main person, but he's on the peripheral.
Oh, yeah, that barely counts.
Okay, so yeah, I knew I'd make you cranky, but other than that, I mean, he's got a lot of just if you've seen him in The Night Manager or if you've seen him in Homeland, he has a very commanding presence.
Yes, he does.
And we've seen in Supergirl and the CW shows, he also has a very soft side and very wants to take care of people. And I think that would make both of those. All he has to do is find that underlying humor like we had with Capaldi, and I think he'd make a perfect Doctor regardless of the fact that he's been on there before. So.
And he would just be in a long line of now people who've been on Doctor Who prior who would ascend into the role. Well, you got Colin Baker, you got Peter Capaldi, and that would be interesting that if he took on the role that just keeps on growing and growing and growing, that they come back and do something else. I guess the only other person would be Karen Gillan, who had a very small role doing that, and then she ended up being Amy Pond. So, thoughts on this and thoughts in the chat about David Harewood.
Well, he's fantastic in Supergirl. Fantastic as the Martian Manhunter. Oh my God, his characters the growth was unbelievable. So he can do anything. I'm pretty sure of it. Absolutely. I think if I had to make a choice between him and Alfred, both of them are fantastic actors and have the wherewithal to do it. But yeah, I think that that your choice, James, that he would bring a lot to this character, especially since he understands the Doctor.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's been on the role before, so he's worked in the studio, he's worked at the BBC in the actual show itself. So moving on there. So James, Mackenzie, let's bring you up on the screen there.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie. I got skipped last time. Hello, everybody.
Mackenzie Fleur of The Right of Wands and other novels that will be coming out, and rumors of a screenplay. Am I right about that?
Yes, it's currently. I can't say who, but I can say that it is with a producer currently that has worked with Matt Smith. So
okay,
that's the most I can say as of right now.
And I was expecting somebody to make this choice, but you made the call there first. Mackenzie, who was your pick?
For me, it was just kind of like. For me, I like the idea of this particular actor has been on the show. There is rumor that she is version 2.5 of the Doctor because she doesn't seem to quite understand Jodie's Doctor, and Jodie's Doctor didn't recognize her. And we know that from Doctor Who history that Jack Harkness also lost 2 years of memory. So I chose Jo Martin as number 14 because who knows, maybe her memory has been wiped as well, and that's the reason why she doesn't remember things in a certain way.
Well, she hid from herself. Do you think there might be something that she was trying to hide from? There was more. And I'm still trying to figure out how she had, well, technically she had a companion that was overseeing things who unfortunately got killed by the Jadoon, but it was just like she was there. She was there at the time. And she's got the role pat down. I have no problem with that. She's incredible in that role. Yes. So everybody thoughts of bringing back Jo Martin. What do you think on her?
Well, like I was telling people in a video earlier this week, rule 1, the Doctor lies. So it could just be she does remember Jodie and all that, but she has to keep it secret for some reason or the other involving her timeline. Yeah. So that's why she did, she played off and said, okay, I don't remember you, and then just faked it out.
I do remember that watching your episode there, Brian, about that she could be kind of tucked away like the War Doctor, and then she's somewhere actually in the line. We just either she got dissed because if you she got dissed away or she got War Doctored, which means she was tucked away. Because if you notice that Jodie didn't remember her, let's just say Jodie was the future presence. And the way that they treated the War Doctor because of what the War Doctor did, you notice that Jodie's doctor kept pulling out the gun. And even though she did kind of was taken aback by by Jodie because she kept pulling that gun, she knew exactly what she was doing. And she did live up to the Doctor's precepts, like, I'm giving you a chance, don't shoot that gun. She knew exactly what she was doing, but she shook the gun and still took out the other time lady out there. So, gosh, I that would be incredible if she came back in some form of fashion there. Do you think she's a splinter, meaning that she is a Doctor, but not part of the Doctor lineage that we've seen?
Yeah, I think that she's 2.5. I really do, because there is a certain point in Doctor Who history that we know that the second Doctor was taken away for a period of time. His memory was wiped, and then he came back as the third Doctor, and that's why his uniform looks different from there. So I think that she could possibly be that. Very, very possible.
Well, speaking of things that are possible, when we return, we're going to continue our discussion about possibly Jodie's replacement. When we continue, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hagen and Flub Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Cosplay Michael. Cosplay is for everyone, and you can check out Cosplay Michael's stuff. He is part of the HWWS Media Web TV team out there. Check him out. And also, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, on our Twitch channel, or any of the Facebook pages with Wizard World and the Traveling TARDIS, don't thank us. Thank our friends at geekinsider.com. Don't forget to subscribe to them at geekinsider.com.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. I'm here with Kevo, Melanie, Mackenzie, Dr. Free himself, Brian Barres, Misha Mulchin of Diversely Geek, and James Enstall from Geek to Me Radio there, folks. We're just having a little fun of talking about the possibility of Jodie's successor, the 14th Doctor, if we even use numbers anymore these days there. I'm kind of curious. Maybe we should do a polling to see who would be the Doctor at the end there. Do you want to do do you guys want to talk about the three that we just mentioned, or do you want to go ahead and continue on there?
I'd move forward.
Move forward?
Whatever. You're scaring the shit, buddy.
And author Michaela Jades.
Be honest
Right into the iceberg. Should I just go sidestep or just go right into it there?
These are fantastic choices. We should pay them some due diligence and go ahead and flesh it out a little bit. And then,
Fair enough.
the rest of us can certainly add our folks if we have time. But I love these choices as well as my own.
Gotcha.
So.
Fair enough there. And Arthur Michaela Jade finally caught you live. Check out Michaela Jade. She actually is an author, a friend of mine, and she started our own YouTube channel. And you can see the progression of stuff that she does. She's building an office. She's writing books. She's actually reading her stuff on her YouTube channel. So check her out there. We want to get her over to 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel page. So please check it out, Michaela Jade. What was the other comment there that we had? Ivy Gentry. I think we could look at Aidan Turner. He could be the first Irish Doctor. Wow. Okay, there. Speaking of which, let's continue. And you know what? Brian Barres, let's bring you on up here. Who did you pick?
It's kind of scary. Me and Kevo have similar tastes because I picked actor Rahul Kohli, who's also 6'4", 35 years old. Most people know him as Ravi from iZombie. Also, he was in The Haunting of Bly Manor as Owen Sherman. He's, like I said, I was just blown away by all the different aspects of his, that he's able to display, especially in iZombie and in Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yes.
And I just feel he has the charisma, the look, and all that. Plus, if you really want to play an angle, if I remember correctly, his parents are of Hindu Punjabi from that area. So he is of India descent. So yeah, that could be something you could go back to later on, like they did with Capaldi, in with the Pompeii thing.
Gotcha there. So, everybody, thoughts on the Rahu?
Love this one because I've actually had him on my show twice to talk about iZombie,
Really?
There's no bigger nerd in the galaxy. He's a huge Star Wars fan. He's a huge Doctor Who fan.
Nice.
He would be delighted to play the Doctor. I know he would. This is a brilliant choice.
He has been, what is the word? He has been trying everything under the sun to get a role in Star Wars. He's like, I would make a great Ezra Bridger.
He wants to be Ezra Bridger.
And then I know he's also put his name out to the BBC to be on Doctor Who, but in anything, because he's that huge of a fan. His acting prowess is pretty fantastic as well. Gosh, you guys are killing me. These are great.
Forget that. I want to be on Star Wars too. I want to be the stormtrooper who hits his head on the ceiling as he's walking through a door. I don't care. What was that? I think it was one of the interviews that we had, and you can check it out on the YouTube channel. Jeremy Raddick, we were just talking about, and we said, would you ever go back to Doctor Who? He said, definitely would. And he goes, what would you want to be? And we were kind of goofingly saying a potted plant. We don't care. We would be the
background.
Yeah, if you saw the Five-ish Doctors, that's what I want to be. I want to be something in the background that said, yep, I was here. I was that guy or that alien in the background. But yeah, that's just me there. Let's continue. And I got Kevo already. I should go ahead.
Yeah.
Nisha, let's bring you up on the screen. Just tell us a little bit about your choice.
So, Brian, I had a feeling you were going to go with Rahul Kohli, so I did not. I put it in, but I actually went with someone extremely similar, and that's Dave Patel.
Yes.
So, yeah, because Dave Patel is another nerd of all nerds who has the acting prowess, has Life of Pi, Copperfield out right now, as a matter of fact, in a role that is that's crossing cultural bounds and race bounds. So he has been cast in a lot of roles where he's able to traverse and be any character, because he simply can act, and he can act from a comedian to the most dramatic, and he can do horror, he can do suspense. I mean, so he's just like Rahul in that sense, like they both really bring that a real huge wide berth of acting chops, I guess. So I would, oh my God, I can't even imagine seeing one of these guys up against Sasha. Whoa, that would be like crazy.
Gotcha.
Absolutely crazy.
So, Dave Patel, anybody who thinks about Dave a little bit there?
He was my number 2, actually.
He was your number 2, okay.
He is one of the only redeeming things about the movie The Last Airbender. His performance as Zuko was great.
Zuko was
the only redeeming thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I will. Yeah,
Iroh was good too, but that's it. It was the two of them. Yeah, he's amazing. I've loved him since he was on Skins. He's a very funny, very great actor. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's much about Airbender, because it did have my favorite director directing it, so I'm just like, oh.
It was tough.
When you watch an ice skater fall during the Olympics, you're like
trying to do a quad, and they just
they just even just got wet. It's like they opened the gate to go out on the ice and went.
Yeah, exactly.
You had one job.
You have one job. Speaking of one job, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about possibly Jodie's replacement on the show, if everything is true, or whenever Jodie decides to leave. We're just having a little fun experiment there. Team TARDIS, please go ahead and put your stuff in the chats. We just want to get your idea of who you think might be a suitable replacement to be the 14th Doctor. And Terry MacGyver says, Dave Patel is excellent from Skins right through to Hollywood movies. There's no let up in his performances. Okay. Yeah. All righty. So there is that. Speaking of that, I think, Melanie, you have the final entry in here.
I do, and the funny thing is, it was actually my second choice, because I would have thought that my first choice was going to be taken, because which kind of goes into what Molly's saying here is, does it have to be another man? Why not another woman?
Yes.
And well, my first choice was actually Catherine Tate. I was thinking that the Doctor goes back into the similar face of Donna.
You just want
Noble,
a ginger now.
No, yes, the Doctor's still kind of grieving with that face, but it's not Donna Noble. No, it's not. It's Catherine Tate. So that was my first choice. I thought for sure somebody was going to snatch that up, but clearly I was wrong and should have rolled with it. So, but I'm going to stand by my second choice because I would love to see him in this role, and that's Richard Ayoade.
Oh, yeah.
You may know him from the IT crowd as Moss. I personally loved him in his Travel Man and Gadget Man. Ayoade has just such a wry sense of humor. His sense of timing for comedy is absolutely amazing. And I think it's very alien in a sense where you could see that Jodie's starting to kind of get that way again. And a lot of times the Doctor was very alien. And I think Ayoade would just have an incredible Doctor with his just Ayoade could just play as Ayoade. His sense of style is amazing, his timing and everything. I just think he would take that role and make it a little bit more alien. We'd see it a little bit more of that Matt Smith kind of Doctor. And I just think it would just be amazing. But so that was, again, my number 2. Number 1, we could kind of push them back and forth. You can juggle them. So I was hoping maybe even Ayoade. And that's one that another one that even when Jodie was coming, when we had, just before Jodie came out, people were thinking Ayoade. So
he seems to be on everybody's first.
Always on that list. Yeah, people want to see him, and he's always on the game show circuit over in the UK. He's always doing stuff. So why can't he have a few seasons of Doctor Who?
I did see. I don't know what the name of the game show is, but somebody had sent me a video, and I said I finally want to see what this guy's all about. And he's got the mannerisms down. He's got the humor. He's got the wit. When he kind of razzes people on the game show, it's not like a bad razz. It's just like, oh, you weren't thinking about that, were you? Type deal. It's just
very quick-witted, and I just think that would be a fun doctorish kind of thing. If you've ever seen him in Travel Man, I believe it's on one of the streaming shows. If you ever have a chance to see Travel Man, there's a holiday special where he and John Hamm go to China, and or Hong Kong, and it's absolutely the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, Richard Ayoade, would be my pick.
Okay. Now that we got all the players out, let's try to weed this out by panel to see who we would select out of those 6. So let's do something a little different here. If we had a choice between Rahul and Richard, who would pick? I guess we can do a show of hands. Who would pick Rahul by show of hands? Got James, got Kevo. Wow. Okay. Even
he's going to be Ezra. He's going to be Ezra.
I know, right?
No, he's going to be Ezra.
Okay, so between Richard and Rahul and even Melanie went against. So let's say for a fact that Rahul won that one. So let's do David and Joe Martin. Oh, okay, we got a chat.
One note here, because Chris jumped in to say, I don't know what all this argument is about. BBC haven't confirmed it. She might not be leaving this season. And I absolutely principally agree with you. I want Jodie to break the mold of this 3-3-3 and out. And I want her for another 2 seasons, at least. Yeah. But because this is something, as Doctor Who fans have kind of gotten used to, is every 3rd season we kind of get used to, okay, who's going to be the next one? Who's going to be the next one? We've had this conversation now for Tennant and Matt and Capaldi, and why not? We're just kind of having fun with it. So yeah, nobody on this panel is trying to kick Jodie out. Girl can keep being my doctor any damn day.
Right. We're just doing something that all the Whovians do out there when they chat about when there is that rumor, and it comes this time of year. I wouldn't pick anyone, as she might not be leaving. Yeah, like I said, Christopher, we're not kicking her out.
This is for 6 years from now.
This will be whenever she decides to leave. So we're just throwing in our ideas, and then you know what? We might actually, if she decides to take a couple more years, 2 or 3 years, we might do this panel again, and let's see if our answers have changed.
Oh, yeah. If she decides to leave, that means I got to get another stand-up.
Right? I'm not ready to paint more people. Are you kidding me? No.
Well, see, then I had to buy that thing there for you, Melanie, because everybody tells me that everything's so blank back here because all my Matt Smith stuff is on the other wall.
Mine too. All my Doctor stuff's the other way. So
I don't have much wall space. I just have to keep just adding stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would only be appropriate for me to have that in my wall because she's my first book doctor. So it would be I have to have that Jodie picture.
I don't think that our choices are totally.
Yeah, I love Rupert Grint. Sorry, I was reading the comment.
Yeah, I know. I was just reading the
Yeah, Terry MacGyver says we're going to throw in a wild card. Rupert Grint has the doctor in a ginger. Yeah, that's always the running gag.
Ginger, yeah.
What do you guys think of Rupert Grint being the doctor?
Mm-hmm.
That's another one of the names.
I want a ginger doctor. I mean, I'm ginger. Isn't that fair?
Just because, right?
He's also another. He's also another one that always seems to come up. When they do these things. Yeah.
Who was the ginger from Love Actually? Who was Colin in Love Actually, and he was.
Oh yeah.
Threw him out before they thought we were getting Capaldi. I can't think of his name right off. I'm gonna Google it. Hold on.
Terry MacGyver, see if you can watch the catchphrase celeb special he appeared in on Richard Was Hilarious. Okay. Okay. Speaking of something, go ahead, Nisha.
I was going to say, if we were talking about females, by the way, because I was back and forth. I just want to throw the name Haley Atwell in there just to have it.
Oh, she'd be funny.
Yeah.
I would
just
have to break it not being Peggy Carter, but
there always seems to be that list. Well, Haley's not, and I'm not saying that she wouldn't be good, but there's that list of actors who are kind of beyond it just because they've ascended to either Marvel or DC. They know the Hollywood taste, and I don't know if they're going to come down to a BBC level like Capaldi did and do something different, but that would be nice. God, why can't
Haley Atwell would be funny because she and Billie Piper look like sisters.
Oh yeah.
Just saying. This would be kind of funny.
Fantastic. Even for one-offs, oh my God, she'd be like hilariously amazing.
Well, and another name that gets tossed around from Marvel, and I can't forget.
Tilda Swinton is always tossed up.
Tilda Swinton, yeah.
Luther, I can't think of his.
Everyone always says Idris Elba.
Idris Elba,
Idris Elba.
Stop.
I think he's pretty much already publicly said no.
Yeah,
he's holding out for James
He's
Bond
Marvel.
Anyway.
Exactly. The man could be James Bond.
Let me go from $1 million back to BBC budget.
Idris Elba.
He was in a Marvel film. He was in the Thor movies. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I'm saying I don't think he would anymore. I think he's gotten a whole different level of work coming at him. So.
That's right. Kevo, what's up?
No, I do have one thought and one statement on that, though, because I do agree Idris Elba is a huge actor, so it would be really difficult. But there's this quote that I love from Stephen Moffat from 2013 where he was talking about the 50th anniversary special. And he was talking about mayfly doctors, he called them. The idea of a doctor for just an episode, for example. And I think especially with the Timeless Child now breaking the regeneration limit problem, I would love to see a doctor for a special, or just a doctor for a season. I think that we will probably start shifting back toward referring to doctors by their last names instead of their numbers. I sort of blame America for that becoming the trend. I'm so sorry. But I would love to see actors like, I think John Boyega would be a great doctor. Mm-hmm. I think that Eddie Izzard would be an amazing doctor, although maybe she would be a little bit better as the Rani. I don't know. But I think we could see Idris Elba for a Christmas special and then regenerate. I think it would be really cool to see stuff like that.
We're on hard break right now, but I'm going to ask this question to the audience and to everybody just to think on the other side. Because if I'm not mistaken, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, RTD came out and said he would like to see a Marvel universe. He would like to see an MCU type deal with Doctor Who. Hold that thought. Don't give me the speed. We're going to go into the commercial break. When we return, we're going to ask that question to everybody and see what you think when we return. Please continue to stay logged on, tuned in. Become Butter the Legend.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Out Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light. and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
I know I'm not the only one who gets excited when I see that ad. I saw Melanie dancing. Doctor Who Worlds Apart. We want to welcome our newest sponsor, Cindy Kep, who's been around for quite some time here, but Doctor Who Worlds Apart. You want to check out their site, Doctor Who / how do you say hyphen? Doctor Who worldsapart.com there. We do have a whole episode that explained everything about how their virtual card gaming works. I'm really excited. We're actually going to be doing an episode shortly when everything gets started. We're going to be bringing back the team from Worlds Apart to. I think Melanie, if I'm going to say, we're going to play a game. We're going to do it live. We're going to play the game there. So please check out our friends and our sponsors at Doctor Who, one word, hyphen. worldsapart.com there. And if you want to be part of the legend and you want to sponsor us, as you can see here, we got a lot of people watching. Email Sage at hangingwithshow.com or myself, Christian, at hangingwithshow. That's HANGIN withshow.com. If you want to be part of the legend with your sponsorship, you can choose to have a sponsorship on the show as far as your ads are concerned. You can do it on our Facebook page, which is now closing up to 50,000 likes. It's almost 52,000 subscribers. That's a lot of people to get your material out there. Whether you have music or you're an artist, you have whatever, please check us out there, and we won't disappoint. Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and Christopher. Oh, I know. I remember Christopher. He likes, but you know what? Why not? Valalay Shalalala should be the next Doctor. You guys interviewed her. Was she cool, not cool, or cool or not? She would be great. She was absolutely freaking cool. I would love for her to come back there. And Valalay, it's not that I don't think she was a doctor. I think she was cooler being a companion to two doctors and verbally kicking their asses, for a better term, out there. Because if you're going to have somebody take on two doctors, technically, the next Doctor and David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, that she was just perfect. Her mannerisms, just, she said everything and just going, and just walk away, things like that. So Valalay would be perfect there. Terry MacGyver adds, I'd love to see Eddie Izzard as the Doctor. Fun, intelligent, and a hell of an actor. Yeah,
but definitely. To Kevin's point, I think she would be an amazing villain. I could see her coming in as Ronnie. Honestly, that. I was like, no, Eddie Izzard as a Doctor, amazing. Then the second you said Ronnie, you're like, ooh, yes.
I had the same thing as soon as it popped in my head. Yeah.
Just a funny villain. Yep.
And those of you just joining us for the show, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We are having our discussion. Again, we just want to reiterate, we're not pushing Jodie out. We haven't confirmed that she's leaving. We're just having fun like all Whovians do every time that there's a rumor that a doctor's leaving, just kind of getting an idea of who our doctor picks would be if she decides to leave this year. And
4 years from now.
Or again, if we and we're going to be doing it 4 years.
It's cool.
And as soon as she is announced 4 years from now, if we go that route, we will probably be doing this again just to see if our picks completely stay the same or if they go completely different there. Welcome again, Kevo, Melanie, Mackenzie, Brian Barres from Dr. Freedom on the YouTube channel, Nisha Mulchin with Diversity Geek, James Engstall. Kevo also represents the Husbands Talking More or Less. What's that?
HTML.
HTML. Well, there you go. Hey, I wanted to give them the full thing. They don't.
He has a lot to do.
Yeah, that's true.
I know
I
that.
apologize.
Exactly. A lot to remember. Back. And if you want to get into the chats for your idea of who possibly the 14th Doctor will be, we'll talk it out there. Again, we're just doing a little game just to see where we come down with our choices at this moment there. Unfortunately, Richard was ruled out by Rahul, so I'm going to do David Harwood and Joe Martin. Out of those two, who would say David should be the Doctor?
Because I brought him to the party, I'm going to have to say yes.
James.
Okay.
Joe Martin.
I'm going to go with that one.
Go with that. Wow. Okay. James.
I like her too.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so Joe is.
That's the bad thing. I don't want to vote
Joe is
anybody out
in.
because I always like just people who play the
There's
Doctor. When they
nothing-
get to the
like
thing,
I
I'm like,
said,
hey, I like you. You're the Doctor.
We're just doing a little game. We're just having a little fun out there. We're just good. Okay, the other folks out there are Alfred and Dev. Out of those two, so Alfred. Let's see some hands for Alfred.
Okay, I'll throw that.
Two for Alfred.
For the Harry Potter.
It was like a whatever. Okay.
We got it. We did a high five. We're dorks.
Yeah.
And hands up for Dev.
I'm saying.
The other four, of course. So Dev.
Okay, James, thank you.
So,
Wait, Mackenzie, everybody high fives right there.
Narrowing our choices down to Joe, Rahul, and Dev, we're going to narrow it down to final two. Rahul or Dev? We're hands up for Rahul. Rahul.
Oh my God, I don't even know.
Four.
Mine, but I'm good as that's hard.
Okay, and
I'm
hands
pragmatic, and Dev has gotten more work, so that's my only thought.
Terry.
Exactly
Terry
why I
voted
did
for
that.
Dev.
Right.
Hands up for Dev.
Raul's going to be
I'm going to
busy
say
being
both
Ezra.
in this case because I really don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sad.
You know what? I saw 4 hands for Raul and 3 hands even with Terry's hand. So sorry, Deb, we're going to put you on hold. So that leaves.
So close.
Okay, that leaves Joe and Raul. Since we didn't have Joe yet, Joe, hands up for Joe. Ow. Wow.
I want Joe to come back as the fugitive Doctor. I want more of the character we've already gotten.
This is just fun, guys. I know it.
No,
You're
yeah,
racking your
that's
brains
where
out.
my vote
This
is.
is the best of the best from us. So
No, I 1,000% want her to be exactly who this.
okay,
Yeah, Doctor.
okay. Just for the sake of this game, I saw 3 hands. So Raul,
Yeah.
Raul.
I choose to
Raul gets
skip.
4.
I'm not voting.
You're not voting. So based
I was going to say he's going to be too busy in Star Wars, so no.
So based upon this panel, based upon the little game you just pulled off, the next Doctor, be it tomorrow or 5 years down the road, Raul, and if I pronounce this wrong, I apologize. Raul Coley?
I believe it's Raul Coley.
Or Raul Coley. So we've picked our
I
Doctor.
am Indian. Oh, that doesn't give me
Christian,
all the- but
What's that?
Well, that's
Christian.
good. I was afraid I've been butchering his name all this time.
Yeah, get
So,
him, Melanie.
I have a question, Christian.
Yeah.
Who were you picking?
yeah.
Get to the chats. I want to see more chats.
There are no chats. It's me asking you questions for the break.
Cough it up!
Come on, buddy.
Terry gave
Plenty
it
of time.
and I love the person that Terry just said.
That one.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
The 104, yeah. I don't know if anybody's
Um,
ever seen a man called like Mobeen, but oh my God.
That's in fact fantastic. Terry says there's a show called BBC called.
Oh, sorry.
There's a
I'll get
show
back to you.
on BBC called Man Like Mobeen that has some fantastic actors that I think could make the movie to Doctor Who in one capacity or another. That's a problem with once you get the taste of the movie life, it's really hard to come back to the BBC. I think very few people have made that transition back. Because if you're this is nothing against anybody, it's just a reality of the market and the business. If you're making 7 figures and you're told, you know what, you'll be the next Doctor. How much you're going to pay me? No, good. I'll be the next Doctor Strange as opposed to the next Doctor Who. So
I mean, a Man Like Mobeen is a 2 season BBC show, and Netflix, as a matter of fact. And so none of them are well-known actors in the least. They're exactly what Terry said. They're very low grade, and I think he's right. They really transition beautifully.
So you remember when the longest time when Sherlock was like off the charts, everybody wanted Benedict Cumberbatch to be the next Doctor in some form or fashion. Everybody was jumping up and down. Not Nisha. Wow. Okay. No. Okay. At least
I like
the polls and stuff. That's what people were talking about.
We all agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's already Doctor. He's already a Doctor.
Yeah.
He's Doctor Strange. So
I love him as Doctor Strange.
I like him as Doctor Strange.
And Christopher Chatfield. Actually, my choice would be Phoebe Walker-Bridge.
Yes.
She totally owns it on the intelligence front, and actually looks like a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
that's
if anything,
put a bow tie on that woman.
If there was a time when Chibnall stepped down, I would like her to run the show because everything I've read about her seems to be very, very intelligent, very well. Does her own thing, and I think she could do it.
I love that.
So you guys want to know who I'm going to pick, right?
Yeah, cough it up.
You gotta cough it up, or we'll exterminate you.
When we return after these commercial breaks, I'm going to be talking about my choice, and this one is going to be a little bit convoluted. So hold tight. I just want your thought process. I mean, don't chastise me, but just get my thought process, and we'll talk about it when we get back.
Get ready for it, y'all.
Yeah.
What, you guys are ready to bash me? Hang on a second. You might like this.
No bash.
All right, I'm out. Hang on. Commercial.
Alien invaders enslave Earth.
Unleashing hunters into the ruin wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend.
If anything you must understand, it is this. If I do not find a cure, my life is forfeit.
Myrta McKinnon, rise. It is your time to participate in the Rite of Wands, in which your soul shall face the ultimate analysis. Do you accede?
Yes. This can't be the way things end.
Heed my advice, young warlock. The future you saw is only a possibility. You will be given the ability to change it.
How?
I suggest you start by studying your father's potion books.
Lachlan the Shreya has come to Iverna. I must focus solely on my work. I am afraid. I do not want to fail.
And you can get a copy of The Right of Wands by me, Mackenzie Floor, at your local bookstop, which could be Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc.
Is something supposed to happen when they do this?
Oh, there's a bad joke.
Yeah, really pull out your wands. Make the waterfall full.
I'm looking around like an idiot looking for mine.
You'll poke your eye out, kid.
That's true. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS in our final portion of the episode. My name is Christian Basil. I'm here with Kevo, Melanie, Mackenzie, Brian Burress, Dr. Freedom himself, Nisha. James just disappeared as soon as I called this.
He does that.
He does that. Yeah, he does that at times. So, okay.
I had to make somebody invincible, so I decided it was going to be poor James. Sorry, James.
There you go. Sorry, I went a little bit too far on the wand.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
James apparated.
Come on back.
Okay.
Come on back, buddy.
He's coming. I see the wind up.
You can do it.
You can do it. Yeah. So my choice for the 14th Doctor. Now here's the thing. I'm going to give you the setup.
And then I'll click.
It's more of a storyline than it is for an actor. Let me explain it this way. There's the scene. Jodie is regenerating. She drops down to her knees, opens up her arms, and all of a sudden you see that orangey yellow stuff that comes out of her face.
You have a whole fanfic with this?
I had a whole fanfic for this.
Okay.
Yeah. You see how I work? Whole thing, she's laying down. Now, I'm going to tell you also in advance, we have not revealed the name of the 14th Doctor yet.
Okay.
While this is playing. She falls down, opens up her arms, you see the regeneration, and all of a sudden she starts to change and then blackout.
Okay.
Complete blackout. The next thing that happens is that you hear like what sounds to be a war and some rustling in the background. And there are two soldiers who are walking across a field. You can hear them walking on stones, on brick, and you can hear like over destruction. And one of them shouts out, "Where's the doctor?" And they're shouting, "Where's the doctor?" And he goes, "I think I found him. He's over here." And then all of a sudden you see this tarp pulled up, and it reveals, go ahead, Melanie, the 8th Doctor. The 8th Doctor laying there in the field, beaten, bloodied to a pulp, just laying there. And the other guy looks at the doctor and goes, "Well, that's not the one we were looking for." And the other one takes out his gun and goes, "We'll take him anyway." Bam. Hits him over the head, and the next thing you know, blackout. And the scene ends where it says, "The Doctor will return." And we'll just leave it just like that. And we still haven't announced the 14th Doctor. What I would like to do is this. I was actually going to hold the rest of this story because if Chibnall does do this, I want to get at least some credit out this, at least the name and the credits. I don't care. I want to give the Prime Doctor a rest and give Paul McGann 2 or 3 seasons in. Now, hold on to that thought. I know it's a little bit weird, but we're going to give him his due and kind of explain what happened leading up to the steps of the War Doctor into his regeneration. So, let's say we give him 3 seasons. When he finally gets to the 3rd season, you see him regenerate into the War Doctor, and as it happens, when he changes out into the War Doctor, boom, Jodie changes into whoever the 14th Doctor is, one of your characters. And there will be a story arc that's going to intertwine with the 8th Doctors because we've seen the story, and that story is going to involve somehow the 14th Doctor. In the first final series finale, the 14th Doctor and the 8th Doctor are going to do battle and work out whatever caused whatever had in their time constraint. This way, Paul finally gets kind of the series that he wants. It's a homage paid back to give people a chance to feel what the classic Who feels like, and it leads into the 14th Doctor, which people will start speculating, because I could see Twitter going completely ape seeing that ending and going and I think it would give a renewed sense for people to get the feeling of how it was for classic Who, brought into new Who, and then evolved with Eighth Doctor and 14th Doctor story. So the first season, or the first series of the 14th Doctor would be the 14th Doctor, but you would see kind of flashbacks hinting back to the 8th, which would lead up to that first series finale. That's how I would like to introduce the 14th Doctor. Thoughts?
I love it.
The saddest part is when Night of the Doctor aired, there were literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people demanding that they go back and do an Eighth Doctor series.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
from the BBC, we heard crickets.
Yeah.
Because they felt it would be too confusing to have two different, incarnations of the Doctor on the air at the same time. So that was their excuse. So it's not beyond, reason. It would be nice to see Paul finally get some screen time, a decent story arc and all that. It just really rips me that all we have of them, on any type of screen is the movie and like a 7-minute little, interlude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We got plenty of Big Finish, but I mean on screen. And I'd love to see him come back on screen.
I think it's a general audience now in 2021 is used to the concept of prequels, is used to the concept of being able to say something. Okay, well, we're gonna watch something that's not now, but it's gonna fit in this timeline. But here it is. So I think that would actually I think work out as a look. Joe, the 13th Doctor did not regenerate into the 8th Doctor. It's we're going to interrupt your normal broadcasting program.
Exactly.
More content that you've been craving, and now we're back, and then we can pick up and go. I actually kind of dig that. I would like to see. I would like to see the 8th Doctor and then see Paul doing things giving me more of that series. I think that would be kind of fun.
If something is set up too, where Paul obviously. Sorry.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
I'm onto that, but there has to be one condition.
Yeah.
And the condition is the writers must all be Big Finish writers who wrote for him.
That's my condition for current Doctor Who right now. Somebody's actually seen the series and kind of evolve it, and just who just kind of had appreciation for the old stuff and bring it into the new. And if they want to turn it and bring it to a modern day style, go for it. I mean, I do want to see new blood, but I do want to kind of bring back some of the old stuff. Now, here's the funny part. This is only something that Doctor Who could do. And technically, if you really think about it, it's not a prequel. It's adding to the story of the 14th Doctor, which is being laid out by the 8th Doctor.
I think, too, because we know 8th Doctor regenerates into War Doctor, it would absolutely be brilliant to see Jodie then at the end of this turn into Jo Martin, and she is basically a new War Doctor, however that sets up the series. So that's brilliant.
Because I'd love to see the scene where we see Paul's Doctor go into, well, technically John's Doctor, and at the same time we end the lineage of Jodie's, and then that's when we see Doctor number 14 right after. So they were kind of regenerating together, and not only that, how much of a irking on the social media that the 14th Doctor hasn't even been announced yet. We want you to watch Paul McGann, and then after which we're just going to throw in the 14th Doctor. And that's how you're going to find out when it's all revealed in its fruition. I think it's a risk, but it's a risk I would love to take.
But the notes that I sent to you earlier, Christian,
you
remember, actually, I was going in the same, I didn't have your fanfic. I was going in the same pathway, saying what we actually need now is explanations of these huge lag points. And even though you may have a fixed point for a doctor, like, to Christopher's point, just remember timelines change constantly. They really do. That's the nature of what Doctor Who is about. And I love the concept of Paul Frost getting his story, because we actually don't have his story. We have it through Big Finish, but we don't have it that's visually
right.
Really, I would say, like, that's the oldest would love to have it. I love that concept.
I don't know, Graham. I'm sorry. I was answering Graham's question. My bad. Go ahead, Nisha.
No. Same way I was saying to you earlier about that would then give us the opportunity, possibly, to learn more about Sasha the One's Master. There are opportunities to bring those characters together to fill in and give us the richness of the background, and then come back and bring us back to to the next
So
level.
it comes full circle, but it's kind of like, hold on, we want to give you something refreshing that's classic and bring it back up here. Graham Krause asked me, would there be any episodes be film versions of Big Finish? I would actually say no. I would actually give him a new companion altogether before he meets Cassie on the ship. But it would be a total different take. The BBC wouldn't make it. It's too much for the fans, not for the it's too much for the fans, not for the general audience.
I think an argument can be made either way.
But the argument would be made either way, because at one point we were talking. I think we were talking about a couple of years ago that if they were going to bring Paul back, it would be like a summer break. Like he would have like not as many episodes, but he would have like 6 or 7 just to fill in the summer between the gaps between Doctors. So people like myself who want, Doctor Who on TV all the time, they would get a Paul McGann fix. And then whoever the Doctor was at that time, we would go right back to them. But here's a story where it kind of just puts the timeline in with the 8th Doctor jumping out and giving him more of a lineage, and then whoever 14 is kind of building the landscape and the story arc for them so that we have something to go into. Just my take on it. That'd be interesting. Joe Martin meeting Paul McGann's Doctor. That would be an interesting fight. That would be an interesting take. And he might actually learn something, because he could see that Joe does pick up the gun. And that might be the evolution of the War Doctor a little bit there, because we know he's at his wit's end. He's done everything. He fights, but where he cannot fight anymore. So that was my take. Yeah, it was fanfic. It was long-winded, but I hope you guys appreciate it. That was something that's a love letter to all the fans, both classic and new, to have some fun with. Do we have any final chats? Any final thoughts? We got to wrap it up here as far as the audio is concerned. There we go. And Christopher Chatfield says, it's a nice idea. It's one I supported years ago, but I just don't think the BBC will do it. Yeah, I kind of think of the same way, but if they do it, I think it would be a nice chance. I think it's a chance that should take with
If the BBC can get their own versions of Filoni and Favreau, then yes.
Don't start with me on that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to wrap it up this way. I saw the ending. I knew about the ending. I still cried my eyes out at the very ending. All that was a nice package to end The Mandalorian. If The Mandalorian ends like that, holy cow, it's perfection. I loved it. Everything about it. And that might be the best way to end it. But if they continue, so be it. I just really hope they have a good story to come back on.
Yeah. They are continuing it, so
they are continuing. I know
Series 3 is already in the works. Yeah,
one page out of the Mandalorian book that I do wish the BBC could do, and they've just kind of proved that they could do it with the announcement of their latest companion. Whoever the 14th Doctor is, whether it's 2 years from now, 17 years from now, whatever, keep a tight lip on it. Don't let people know, because every time somebody knows who the actor is, and as we've seen with Capaldi and Jodie, everybody goes nuts, and it's already an uphill battle trying to sell a Doctor. Do what the Mandalorian did with Baby Yoda. Don't bring it up. Just all of a sudden, here you go, and people might just let them make their own assumptions after seeing what they
had not a clue what the truth of any episode is going to be until the second the name showed up. What was?
BBC, you can do it.
Let's see if the BBC can hold a secret.
This latest
Don Barrowman will not let him know before anybody else in the world has seen that he's back on Doctor Who.
Yeah. Because Tanaya Miller in a cameo call claims she already knows who the 14th Doctor is. It's already locked in, and that we would love them.
Yeah.
So she went out of the way to make sure we don't have a pronoun to know a general idea if or if it's a he or she or whatever.
She threw out.
So I don't think she was joking either. I don't think she was joking.
It's a possibility. But speaking of possibilities, thank you, folks. We're going to continue our show. Just for the folks who are listening to the audio, thank you for listening. Please make sure that you're catching us. If you want to see our stuff online after the show, we want you not only to check out our Facebook page, facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS. Check us out. We're closing in on 50,000 likes. Also, our friends, facebook.com, Wizard World. And if you want to get their swag, Wizard World, vault.com. We're currently working right now on our website on our swag. We've had to make some changes, so right now the link is down, but we'll be getting it up very shortly. Thank you, folks, for joining us out here. Again, for those of you staying for the after party, we're going to continue our discussion. But for those of you who are listening to our audio, thank you so much. Have a great night. Please stay safe and always become part of legend. And where is that?
All right,
you know what's really
there we go.
You have to tell Raul that he got voted in. You really need to get this message.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag him on our Twitter and let him know.
Okay.
He will go.
Yeah. You know what's really trippy though?
More than I do. Tag him. I was just like, if he comes down, I'm great.
You know what's really trippy, and I'm shocked nobody mentioned it. It is kind of weird. The 14th Doctor will be taking place if this does go on, in the 14th season of the new show.
Well, this is 13 of the 13th season of the new show, right? So
yeah,
13 is doing 13, 14 is doing 14. Hopefully, the 14th Doctor will do more than just a year to keep on that balance. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Brian and Mackenzie, do you guys have some kind of knowledge about why is the third year that huge hump? I mean, obviously we've been doing it a long time, but from the backstages, like, what are you guys seeing as the reason that we get that?
It started with, believe it or not, it all started with Patrick Troughton.
Yes.
Patrick Troughton did 3 years, and then he told Peter Davison, I believe, don't do any more in 3 years. And then Peter Davison went ahead and told Tennant, don't do any more in 3 years. It's kind of been passed down literally since before Patrick Troughton passed away.
In fact, with Sylvester, that story was a little different.
Yeah.
It was also to prevent...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, it was also to prevent what happened to Tom Baker. He was typecast. So after 7 years, that's all you saw. And in fact, if you watch shows after which, he was basically he was on one episode of Remington Steele. He was villainous doctor. All the mannerisms and everything. And I saw on Remington Steele, I thought it was cool. James Bond and the Doctor together in an actual TV show. And he was the villain. I'm just like, I can't see him as the villain. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But then if you watch Brian, and I'm trying to get the titles right, I think it's Vault of Horrors.
Yeah, I think it was Vault of Horror.
Where he's a villain in that. Well, kind of the bad guy, and he's also the Voyage of Sinbad. I think the 7 Voyages of Sinbad.
Yep.
Yeah. He's bad guys in that one. Rasputin, he's really bad. So I just like when you first see him, it was like, oh my God, this is my doctor. You know, he's the quick-witted, curly-haired, scarfy guy with big teeth. And then you see Rasputin, I'm like, holy cow.
Then he had that bit part in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I'm like, it's the Doctor with pointed ears.
Right.
He also the Bendu and Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And also I heard that voice. I'm like, oh, he's the Bendu. I want him. I want the Bendu in the Mandalorian, but I know we should.
I know. We need to see the Bendu.
I want that.
Going back to the whole thing with Sylvester, and ironically, there was I don't remember who it was that recently leaked this out. They actually did an article about it too, which is kind of ironic. Is that this went back with Peter Davison. He had originally told Sylvester, "Yeah, just do 3 years," and so then the producer said, "You're going to do a 4th year," and he was kind of caught off guard because he knew the doctors are supposed to do 3 years, so he was like, "Okay." Well, he was like, "I don't want to necessarily do a 4th year. Can I think about it?" And the producer, which was Nathan Turner at that time, said, "If you don't do a 4th season, there's not going to be a 3rd season." And we know what happened at that point. Then the movie came out.
In fact, it was John Nathan Turner was in an interview with Brian. It's a PBS documentary or something. They were doing the anniversary, the 25th anniversary of Doctor Who, which was Silver Nemesis, and at the very end of the documentary, John Nathan Turner is asked a question: "Are you going to stay after the 25th?" He said no, and I forgot what the phraseology was, but he is like, "And what if you leave?" And he goes, "Sylvester McCoy is going to make me stay," and he was there for the 26th season, which was the end all be all. No, it's okay, James. The final season of Doctor Who during the classic series, but JNT did stay for 1 season because I think he was told that if you leave, this is over, and nobody wants to be the showrunner that says I ended it all. In fact, I still think to this day JNT is probably the most underrated as far as fans of Doctor Who is concerned. What that man did to try to push Doctor Who, and he knew right away the United States was the targeted area that he needed to do to expand on Doctor Who there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm done. Everybody's nodding in approval. I'm like,
well, yeah. One question you brought up earlier was about the announcement by RTD. He feels Doctor Who should be like Marvel.
Yes.
And I thought it was very interesting. He's the one who brought that up because under his reign, you not only had Doctor Who running, you had the Sarah Jane Adventures, you had Torchwood, all running at once. And it's like they were all part of the same universe, like Marvel's doing now with all these different shows. And I really wish. Yeah, like I
thought he said Star Trek, because I remember him talking about being surprised that Pike is getting a TV show and how Trekkies never would have believed that Captain Pike could get a TV show. I don't remember it's Marvel, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It was Star Trek, but same concept. Yep.
Yeah.
Have a bigger universe.
We're doing good, Joseph. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Do you think that that's something you see on the table? Or do you think we're already stretched too much?
I
don't know how
COVID running, we would possibly, but I think with COVID, no shot. No shot.
Also budgets, because it is the BBC. It's not, it's not like it's Marvel where it's got Disney money behind it and Marvel money behind it and every other money behind it and Star Wars money behind it.
And
the amount of revenue streams they have and the BBC, and then plus BBC has more laws that they have to deal with as well because their funding's coming from the public.
And they also
a monster.
They changed the license fee not too long ago. So if you're above a certain age, you don't even have to pay it anymore, which took a big chunk out of their budget.
And some people are choosing not to pay their licenses. They're getting out. I'm like, okay. So,
but the saddest part is the last attempt they made to even do a spinoff was Class, and it seemed to me like, even though there was a backing for it, they set it up to fail. They really did. They took it, they threw it out on BBC Three. Then when they did finally air it on BBC One, get ready for this. They aired it on Monday nights, 2 episodes at a time, from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Jeez.
Monday night. Who's going to be up on Monday night to watch it at 11 p.m.?
And their target audience was teens.
Exactamundo.
Why did they hate it so much? They literally put it out there to die.
It's the same thing.
Now it has been picked up by Big Finish
in America. That it was set up to fail too when it went on Fox, because it's like everything goes to die on Fox is what they say around here.
Yeah, Class has been picked up on Big Finish and all that. I think they're still doing more stuff with it. But the saddest part is, once again, we found out that if Series 2 of Class that happened, Sophie Aldred was going to be on it.
Yeah.
Which really disappoints me because I'm like, why the hell wasn't she in the first season?
Okay, James, nothing against Disney, but no.
Well, I'm curious why you're so emphatically saying no, and I'd be curious if there are any large media companies that you would be okay with getting the rights to Doctor Who and being able to do these things. Because we can say no, but then the show's going to get canceled eventually because they don't have money.
Right.
Now, if they wanted to, they could do the same thing they did with Ripper Street, where they hand it over to Prime, they co-sponsor it, but Prime gets to air it first, and they also get to air it, whatever length episode they want. Like when Ripper Street was on Prime, the episode could be 55 minutes, it could be an hour and 10 minutes, but when it went to the BBC, they had to show the edited version, which was like 55 minutes. So they could do the same thing where they co-sponsor it through Prime, but I don't know if they'd go that route again.
Or
Ripper Street went on.
That's actually a really good point, because right now I'm actually in a big workshop about screenwriting, and right now they're saying that the industry has changed, that now it's more about the binge watching. So that would really go on to that. If at some point maybe we would only see it on HBO Max or BBC One. I think that's BBC One. It's the one that airs it out there in the UK. And it be that same scenario where it's going to be binging, or we have something like Discovery Plus, where everything now is suddenly on. All new shows are going to be on like BBC Plus, something like that.
Well, we kind of forget a little bit here, and I think the contract expired, but technically for a while, Doctor Who was Universal.
Yes,
For
and
what?
I was actually, when you were saying no to Disney, and before, I didn't think it was Kevo that had said that if it was going to go to anybody else. I was actually going to say Universal because they once did.
And to tell you the truth, I've always been begging, and it's like I said, it's nothing against Disney, but I think if Universal took it over, because people, one of the funny things, Melanie, when I went to Universal, and a couple of the cast, they're not cast members, but they have a different name. I was like performers or something like that. But I remember somebody saying, "Go to Harry Potter Land. Everybody's a Whovian over there," and it was true.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't it be nice that maybe somehow Doctor Who made a presence right next to Harry Potter for them to be together in some form or fashion, just because they do seem to fit together.
And that's the thing when it comes to one part to an important note about this conversation is like maybe Disney can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about being executive producers and they own it? They produce it? Are you talking about distribution? Are you talking about partner? Because those are all multiple different facets of entertainment.
Yeah.
You could still be BBC and all this little teeny tiny little kind of, you don't have a lot of budget, blah, blah, blah. But the second you can secure distribution rights somewhere, that can be your money to help fund it and grow.
Well, they made
you can even
mistake
just to distribute it.
Well, they made a huge mistake back then when they decided, we'll put the show up against the last episode of Roseanne, which was a bad idea.
Yeah,
I'm just like, are you kidding me? Well, it was a sci-fi show up against a comedy, so there was like, no, everybody's watching Roseanne. That's not gonna, it doesn't matter. Even Whovians are going to be watching probably Roseanne, and they were. But the TV movie did very successfully back in the homeland when it premiered. So it did well in the ratings. Everybody was like, "Oh, okay, well, it's back," and then nothing happened because nobody wanted to spend.
Fox.
We're also looking.
Well, they spent all the money, and there's like, "Oh, you want to make a series out of it?" I'm like, "Well, what'd you think?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the money now?" So
Doctor was supposed to have his own series. It was actually, I know one of the writers who actually had been asked to write it. So unfortunately, it didn't happen because of it going against Roseanne. And this is one of those things that we don't really think of in like from a producer or that type of is your target audience. Mm-hmm. What is your competition? And if you don't know who your competition is, then you're just setting up yourself up for failure.
So if you look at streaming services right now, if hindsight being what it was, BBC had the wherewithal to partner with a large enough or distribution streaming service. It doesn't have to be Disney Plus whatsoever, not in the least. I think Prime is actually a really good option because it allows them to have a lot more ownership in terms of their product, right? So Prime actually was the right way to go. I agree with that one.
It was on Netflix for a while. I was like, Netflix could pick it up.
Netflix would pick it up this fast. I bet you they can't for some. There's got to be something going on that's not allowing.
They had it for a while and they dropped the ball. And I'm sure BBC was going. And this was in the heyday of the BBC when everything was like surging and taking off. Top Gear, Sherlock, Doctor Who. Those were the top 3 international. So BBC knew it had a cash cow. So it was going like, okay, let's reel it all back in. And now we're looking, well, we got to reel it all back out if we want, if we get the money. We're in the new world of COVID. We're in the new world of streaming. So the market has changed out there. And don't get me wrong, I completely went ape when I saw the first Doctor Who merchandise at Epcot. And then when I saw the Universal, and it was the only time where, with the exception of maybe the candy, you could actually get merchandise Doctor Who from Disney and Universal, and I was like freaking out. Only Marvel was the only other thing at that point. So,
well, the BBC are very hesitant to give. Like you said, it's one of their biggest cash cows. The best way I can describe it is, you remember that opening scene from Young Frankenstein where he's trying to get the book from the skeleton? It's like that. They don't want to let it go. Okay, they're kind of scared that if they let it go, they're going to lose something there. So, also, it was born and raised there in the UK, so it's kind of like a trying to give up your child. It's in a way. It's
that would be like Mickey moving over to Universal all of a sudden. It's just like you can't. It just does not work. It's British. It's British in its blood. It's British in its foundings. It's diverse in nature. It's grown up to be the way it is. And you know, I remember just the outcry when it was being filmed in Canada in 1996. I'm like, people were like, what Canada? Vancouver? Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, yeah, I didn't even realize that until later on. And then people, you know, and they were kind of borked. It kind of got a little borked with the kiss that was heard around the Whoniverse. They half human part. It's just like, okay, you guys really bring it back here. We can't let this
Yeah, and I think you're going to say exactly what I was going to say.
So if you think people were going crazy over the Timeless Children, I remember, oh my God, they've made him half human. Oh,
yeah.
People went nuts over that.
They did. They went total nuts over that.
Yeah, it's just like, there was no Twitter. They were just throwing things at each other in public. And just, but it was
fan-made newsletters. Oh, the editors must have had so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that Dr. Friedman has probably heard the argument as much as I have about when it comes to the movie. You're like, oh, those Americans, they ruined it, blah, 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 blah. You realize it was all British people?
It was a British director, British writer, co-funded by the BBC.
Yeah. They don't care.
What?
It was just the BBC had went ahead and carved out a lot of facets to the movie that they normally would keep close to the chest. That's why now I think they've kind of learned from that, or they just haven't gone past that. And every facet to anything Doctor Who right now is so granular, where they're like, well, what do you want? You want distribution? Okay, well, let's just talk US distribution. Okay, you want UK? No, we do UK distribution. What everything is, it's teeny tiny. Whereas where you have a machine like a Disney, Marvel, blah blah blah, where they can go, oh no, we're doing all of it. Where they can go ahead, they're starting from cradle to grave. Meanwhile, the BBC's like, no, we can. Here's the little pieces of red tape for each piece that we're going to give you of this pie. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, again, Disney's like, nope, we own the whole bakery, so we can do what we want.
Right. And again, it doesn't have to be them. There's so many other options. There's so many. There's even Apple TV. I mean, there's a lot of good streaming services.
But it's up to the BBC whether or not they want to have that produced, get the money for the producer credit, or they're just going straight up for the distribution credit, which won't pay as much.
Yeah.
But they get to have more, choices and then the ball's in their court.
We have a really, really, really great global fan community. And I hate to see, because I remember us doing a show about last year. I think Mackenzie was with me, and where we were looking at where where Doctor Who has been airing for the last how many years, and where, and it's incredible where it has touched. You have to think about anywhere that's been a British Commonwealth, it has the ability to touch, right? Or has any connection to the British Commonwealth. Well, that's almost everywhere at some point or the other in life. And though they're very limited in being able to get access to it now, and they want access to it. So, I mean, in the long run, it's if they want the success, they really need to be able to reach the fans outside of the normal, I guess, areas of distribution. I mean, that's my thought. It was actually, it had a huge fan following in Southeast Asia, guys. It really did. It's just, they just don't have the access to it like they have. So
it's now become, and I know I keep seeing posts, and I'll wrap this up over here. I keep seeing posts that it is a British thing, and there are some Brits who kind of say it needs to stay British. And I said, no, guys, it's been adopted around the world. It's US, it's Malaysia, it's China, it's Russia, it's all over the world now. And everybody's adopted to it. If you don't believe me, there's that film with Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi as they're doing the world tour, literally the world tour, meeting people from Japan and seeing people being dressed up, wearing their, having their fezzes, their blue sonic screwdrivers out. It is a world thing now, and nothing's going to change that. And as long as the world embraces Doctor Who, I'm hoping that, there will be the funds and making and love to keep Doctor Who going. But speaking of going, folks, sorry, Wizard World's kicking us out. But thank you all for joining us. Again, let me go ahead and put up the final link to join us on our YouTube channel.
Just search for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and then find it that way, because we don't have the vanity link yet. Yeah, that's coming up. Hence why it's channel UCL _F2V.
You can't remember that?
Find us. I know. I don't have memories.
Write this down.
That was my grandma's name.
just look up the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS LLC, and you will find us. And please subscribe there. Thank you all so much.
Logo.
There you go. Thank you, Wizard World. Well,
wait
a minute. Just laughing at Mike Nolan. Hi, all. First time here. I'm from the UK. I'm on mute, so I don't wake the family up. Sorry. Any help, much appreciated. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks.
Good feedback. Good feedback.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. But we got to go. Thank you all.
Unfortunately, we're leaving. Go on YouTube.
We're leaving. We're leaving. We're hitting the button. Bye, everybody.